Hello learners, in this lecture we will see how the manufacturing of a cement is done. So in the previous lecture we had seen what are the different ingredients that is required for the production of the cement. So basically the manufacturing of cement is done in two ways. The first is a dry mix and the second is a wet mix. In the dry mix, the raw materials what we have, they are mixed in the dry state, that is in the form of powder, and in the wet mix the raw materials are mixed in the form of slurry, that is with the help of water. Those things are mixed up, right? Now coming to this, the mixing of raw materials, basically we have two raw materials. One is the argillaceous and the calcareous raw materials what we have. Since we have two different raw materials, we need to have a uniform mixing of that. So once the uniform mixing is done, the next is that we need to do the burning of these raw materials. And we have seen that something called clinker temperature, right? Where the burning will happen at 1400 to 1600 degrees Celsius. That is at this temperature, the burning of these ingredients is going to happen. And once the burning is done, the next is the grinding of that, because once you do the burning, it's not that directly that you are going to get the cement. So the cements are got in the form of a clinkers. So these are the small round, particles that you're going to get. After this, you have to do the grinding of that. So once you do the grinding, only then you're going to get that as a cement powder. So this basic steps we need to understand before we get into the manufacturing of the cement. So with this understanding, we'll try to see how the dry mix is done, and with the help of a dry mix, we'll try to see how the cement production is done. So coming to that, as we saw, we have a dry mix and we have a wet mix. So dry mix is a modern way of producing a cement, and it is a widely used method. So how do you begin with this? So as we saw now, we require two raw materials. The one is a calcareous raw material and the second is a argillaceous. So in the calcareous raw material, usually we take a limestone, and coming to the argillaceous, we have a clay. So after that, what happens, this is how your limestone is going to look. All these are the limestone, they are bigger in size. Now what we need to do before we take this limestone, since they're bigger in size, we need to break it down, right? The second step is that crushing. You can see it's written crushing here. So that is from bigger particles to smaller particles, we are going to do the crushing of this limestone, so that the final size of of this limestone is somewhere close to 25 mm, right? Similarly, if you have a clay, even the crushing of clay is going to happen. So once these things are done, once you're done with the crushing, the next is the grinding of that, right? So since we require this in a kind of a powder form, what we are going to do, we are going to do the grinding of this raw material. So the calcium limestone also we are going to do the grinding, and also the clay what we have, that is also we are going to do the grinding of this. So once the grinding is done, we are going to do the raw mixing of this, right? So once the grinding is done, the both the limestone as well as the clay, what we have, we are going to do the raw mixing. So when we are doing the raw mixing, we need to understand that we are going to do the blending here. Now the question that comes in our mind is, what is blending? See, we had seen in the previous lecture, let me write it here, that whenever we want to put lime, what should be the proportion of a lime? It should be in between 63 to 67%, right? Similarly, we had alumina. Alumina should have been in percentage of 3 to 8. Now let us say when you brought this limestone and the clay, let us say the lime percentage was, this is 67, yeah, the lime percentage was not in between this. Let us say the lime was somewhere in between. Let me do it here. The percentage of lime was somewhere close to 50%. And now we know that if the lime percentage is somewhere close to 50%, then what is going to happen, that is the cement is not going to set quickly, because the percentages should be in between 63 to 67. Now we need to add certain lime into this, so that this percentage is going to fall in between 63 to 67. So the process of adding the materials into this original ingredients so that the proportion is corrected is called as blending. So in the blending, we try to see what should be the exact proportion of all these raw materials, and just in case if they're excess, we try to take it out, and if just in case if they're less in number, we try to add that. So this process is called as blending process. So once the blending process is done, along with the raw mixing, you are going to do the blending of that, so that the correct proportions is obtained, right? because we know that if the correct proportions are not obtained here, we know what are the significance of that. If the lime is more, what is going to happen? If the lime is less, what is going to happen? We know what will happen if alumina content is more. We know what will happen if sulfate contents are more. Or we have already seen all those things, and knowing all those things, we try to do the blending here so that we are not going to face those problems which we already know. Yeah. So once this is done, the next is the preheating of that, right? We have to do the heating of that, but this is something called as preheating. Now, what is this preheating? So in the preheating, let me write it here. Yeah. So in the preheating, by with the help of exhaust gases, we are going to do the preheating, and the temperature of this exhaust gases will be close to 800 to 850 degrees Celsius. So actually what happens, what do you mean by this preheating? See, let me take this out. Yeah. So why this preheating has to be done? So this preheating will lead to the easiness in the burning, because we know that this entire production of the cement will happen at a 1400 to 1600 degrees Celsius temperature. So let see, this is how the production is going to happen. See, this is a rotary kiln what we have here. My clinker formation is going to happen. So once the clinker formation is going to happen here, the temperature will be somewhere close to 1400 to 1600, right? So right now we are still into this phase. We are still into this phase, right? So when we are trying to put the raw materials here, what is going to happen? Somewhere here, this temperature will be around 1400 to 16 degrees Celsius. As a result of that, what will happen? The gases are going to get the gases are going to come out from here. So what we are going to tell to this, these are called as exhaust gases. I've written it here. We are going to tell this exhaust gases, say if you want to go out, you can go, but the thing is that before you go out, try to go through this, right? So if you want to go out, you can go, but do one help for me, that when you're going out, try to go through this particular rotary kiln, so that whatever raw materials that is coming from here, right, what will happen, they will be preheated. So once if it is preheated, then what will happen, it will be easy for me in burning. Otherwise the temperature has to start from 0 0, and then it has to go to 1400 to 1600, which will take a long time. So even this hot gases what we have, they have certain temperature in that. Instead of leaving them simply into the atmosphere, we'll ask them to pass through this particular rotary kiln, so that whatever raw materials are coming, that is the raw mixing what we have done, let all this hot air pass through that. As a result of that, this raw mixing what we have prepared, whatever ingredients we have, they will be preheated. So if it is preheated, it will be easy for us in burning. That is the reason we try to do this preheating by with the help of exhaust gases, right? Yeah. So once these exhaust gases are done, the next is the storage of the corrected raw mix. Now after that, we are going to do the storage of this. So now I've written a word called as raw mix here, and it written here corrected raw mix. That means before the blending it was just a raw mix, right? But after blending, we have tried to proportion the ingredients in such a way it has become a corrected raw mix. That is why I have written it here, storage of corrected raw mix. Yeah. So once these things are done, next we'll try to see what is going to happen. Yeah. So once the storage of corrected raw mix is done, next is the rotary kiln. Here the burning is going to happen at 1400 to 1600 degrees Celsius, right? So after that, what is going to happen? After that, the clinker formation is going to happen. Once you're starting to burn all these ingredients in the rotary kiln at a temperature of 1400 to 1600 degrees Celsius, what is going to happen? The clinker formations are going to happen, and this is how the clinkers are formed. Can you see? These are the small, nodules what you have here, and you can. It's very red hot here, right? So this is a clinker formation. So once this clinker are formed, they're very hot because the temperature is already 1400 to 1600. So for that, what we need to do, we need to do the cooling of a clinker. So in this way, the cooling of a clinker is going to happen. You can see here, this means the cooling is started, and by the time they get into this color, it's the end of cooling, and this is how it is going to look. So once the cooling of a clinker is done, next we have to do the grinding of a clinker, because this whatever clinker you have, you directly cannot use that. You have to do the grinding of that, right? So once the grinding is done, what will happen, we'll get that in the form of a powder form. So the grinding of a clinker is done. After that, we are going to get this in the form of a powder. And now comes a very important thing. Once the grinding of clinker is done, what we are going to do, we are going to do the addition of a gypsum. Now, why this gypsum has to be added, we'll try to see in the next lecture, right? But as of now, we have to understand this plays a very important role, that gypsum is going to play a very important role later. So because of that, we are going to add the gypsum here. So once the grinding of clinker is done, we are going to add the gypsum. Along with the gypsum, you can even add pozzolana here. Now, what is pozzolana? What is the significance of pozzolana? All those things will come, we'll try to see in the upcoming lectures. But these two things we need to understand, because now it is a time for the gypsum to be added, because this gypsum was not required in the clinker formation and all. Only once the grinding of clinker is done, we need to add the gypsum here, right? So once the gypsum is added, this everything will be in the form of a powder, and then we are going to do the storages. Now the storages of the cement will be done in the silos. You can see this big a kind of a storage tank kept here. These are called as silos. So in this the cement will be stored, and based on the requirement we are going to use it. And this is how the packaging is gonna be done. You can see the cement have been packed here. These are the conveyor belt, and through this, wherever it is required, we can take the cement bags. And this is how the storage of a cement bag is done. Coming to the storage of cement bag, there is also certain rules that we need to follow when we try to do the storage of a cement bags. It's not that you simply keep on stacking all these cement bags. There's certain rules that we need to see, the spacing and all, and you cannot keep on stacking the cement bags, right? Based on that, we have to do the storing of this particular cement bag, right? Yeah. So once this is done, this how finally this is how my cement is obtained, right? Once you have done the storage of that, after the storage you are going to get the uh, cement is stored in the help of a silos. Yeah, now we'll try to see this flow chart. So if you remember, we had taken limestone and clay, and after that what we did, we with the help of this raw mill, we feeded that into the raw mill. From here it will go into the raw mill silos, right? And from here it will go to the preheater, and this is my rotary kiln. From here that exhaust gases we are going to pass through this, and as a result of that, this particular suspension preheater, it's going to get preheated because of the exhaust gases. And this is a rotary kiln, and from the rotary kiln it's going to come to the clinker silos. Here the clinkers formation is going to happen, and we know that once the clinker formation is happened, we are going to add the gypsum. We'll try to see the importance of adding gypsum in the upcoming lectures. And from there it will go to the cement mill, and from there it will go to the cement silos where it will be stored, and from there wherever it is required, we'll try to do the dispatching of this particular cement. So in this way, the entire flowchart of a cement manufacturing is understood. Yeah, right. So in the next lecture, we'll try to see how the cement manufacturing is done with the help of a wet mix, and also we'll try to see the significance of the rotary kiln, how it affects the length of the rotary kiln when we are going to make use of a dry mix and the wet mix. And also we'll try to see what is the importance of adding a gypsum in the manufacturing of a cement. So we'll see you back in the next lecture. Thank you.